All right, our question 4, it's all about module 4, where we talk about relationships, graphs, interpretation of graphs, nama patterns, as well as number patterns. Okay, now for question 4, the question 4 actually, it's a two-part question. Uno 4.1, we are given a graph to interpret. Let me just hide this and show 4.2. This is 4.2. It talks about a census year. To then, where we are given a table, we have to take that table and plot a graph, right? So in one of the assignments, beswabhala, I think it was assignment 3. Yeah, it was assignment 3. We had a similar setup where we had a table. We had to take that table and plot. We also had another question where there was a graph. It was a pie chart, but it was a pie chart, right? It was a pie chart of some sort. So we had to interpret or work out our answers from that pie chart. Okay, so now the question for pendulama, it's almost like a similar setup. Going back to 4.1, let's read through this question here. Oh, by the way, in the description box, I'll leave my links for other questions that I've answered for this question paper. Now, Stats SA started conducting Census 2022 in February 2022. The field workers who were to conduct the census agreed to be paid 250 Rand per day in a certain province. 7,800 field workers were recruited. The graph below shows the cost of paying field workers in Rand per day. All right, let's analyze the graph here before going to answer our questions. So here, this is the y-axis of the graph, right? We have cost in Rand. And then on the x-axis side, we have the number of field workers. So you should know this. The y-axis here to represents what? The dependent variable. It represents the dependent variable. And then the x-axis represents what? The independent variable. So now if you think about this, the cost in Rand, like the amount of money that we're going to pay our workers, it depends on the employer how many field workers. Hence, the number of field workers we refer to them as the independent variable, because it is independent. It's not dependent on anything. We have control over this variable. Then the cost in Rand, the more people we employ, the more money we will have to spend. Okay, just a brief explanation on the graph, and I'm an independent variable. All right, so we are given a set of questions here. Now, with a set of questions, they are asking us, like 4.1.1, how much would it cost to pay 4,000 field workers per day? All right, so sizwala graph and read off a value. So we have 4,000 workers. How much would it cost us to pay these 4,000 workers? So we draw a straight line all the way up to the graph. Where it intersects the graph, I'm gonna read across. Then it's gonna cost us about 1 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it's 6 zeros. So that's a million Rand. This cost 1 million Rand. Okay, I took this value off the graph. And then another question would be, how many field workers were employed if the cost was 2 million Rand per day? All right, so you go to the graph, then for now 2 million Rand. So for now 2 million Rand, now 2 million Rand. Let's read evaluate. We can see that it goes all the way to the end of the graph. So that means we'll have to employ how many people? 8,000. Okay, not 8,000 Rand, but it's the number of people. So it's just going to be 8,000 people that needs to be that needs to be employed. Then go 4.1.3, make use of the graph above to insert the missing values A to D in the table. Use answer sheet number 1. Okay, this is okay. I think it's so. Let me just do this. Erase A, erase this one, erase this one, erase this one. So we're just gonna use this table as answer sheet number 1 here too. So we just have to go through the graph and read off our values. We have 3,000 rand. We have to find UA. Or let me just do this because I need to make reference. Let me not erase my alphabets. Let me just leave them like this. So I have 3,000 field workers. Now I'm a field worker as well. My 3,000. How much does it cost? So I need to check if value got A on the graph. Let's go ahead and do that. So 3,000 field workers. It gives us what? A cost of 750,000. So lana go A, it's gonna be 750,123. All right. So that's A. And then siyahamba siyofuna, we have a cost in rent of 1,125,000. 1,120. 1 million. Okay, wait. 1,250,000. Okay, snap. Okay, let me check something. 250 divided by 2. Yes, okay. So now let's be careful. This is 1,250,000. Hence, this value, it's 1,125,000. Where is this value found? It's between 1 million and 1,250,000. So it's somewhere in between. So I'm gonna do this, Izelana, and then drop a line like this. So my answer is gonna lie between 4,000, no, 5,000. So the answer should be what? The answer should be it should be 4,500. Bigger. It's 500, 1,000. 1,005, add another 500, it's gonna be 2,000. So gahle in between ama values wethu, it's where we get the 500 mark, right? It's gonna be a 4,500. So the answer should be 4,500. That's it. And then for 6,000, we're gonna say 6,000 all the way up is niggas 1,500,000. 1,500,000. And then lapha good D, we have 1,750,000. 1,750,000 ET. Then we drop it down like this. Then go about 7,000. So these are the answers for 4.1.3. Now 4.1.4, name the dependent and the independent variable in the table in 4.1.3. all right. So cost in the rent is this, number of field workers is this. Okay, as I've explained, it dependent, it's the y axis, but you'll have to name it. Of course, you'll have to name it. Y axis, you have to say, oh, the dependent variable, it's the cost in rent. And then independent variable, it's gonna be the number of field workers. Let me just write it guys. So dependent variable, the dependent variable, it's gonna be the cost in rent. Cost in rent. Independent variable, it's gonna be the number of field workers. The number of field workers. So that's 4.1.4. Okay. I'm gonna erase this and then insert the next part of our questions. Now, 4.1.5, that's the next question. 4.1.5, does the graph or table indicate a direct or indirect proportion? Give a reason for your answer. So that's for 3 marks. Yeah? It's a straight line that passes through the origin. So this is a direct relation. It's a direct proportion relation. Now, you can see that, okay, in a direct relation, as one quantity increases, the other quantity will also increase. As the dependent variable increases, so does the independent variable. Now we can say or give a reason like this, because as the number of field workers, as the number of the independent variable increases, so does the number of dependent variable increases. So I'm just going to write it like this: as the number of field workers increases, so does the cost in rent. So does the cost in rent increases. Right? It's like this. So a direct proportion relationship is described as one quantity increases, also the other quantity increases. As the dependent variable increases, so does the dependent variable. Okay. Then go 4.1.6, is the cost to pay field workers an example of an arithmetic constant or difference? Oh, is it a constant difference or a geometric pattern? All right. Should I erase? Yes, we can. I think I can take this down, man. Young distractor. So let's just answer more questions with you here instead of answering them on that piece of paper. All right. So now, are we having a constant difference or an arithmetic difference, or in a geometric pattern? Okay, an arithmetic, it's that value esithola by doing a subtraction between our terms with, right? It should be constant. And then a geometric pattern, it's that one, or a geometric pattern or a constant ratio, it's that one where we get a constant value every time we divide our values with. So in this case, and then you're asking us, where is the cost to pay field workers? So the cost of paying field workers, we'll have to pay attention here and check our values with. So 50, no, this is 500,000 or 250,000. So taking a difference, we're gonna start testing or checking if it's a arithmetic or constant difference. So it's gonna be 500,000, okay, minus 250, 1, 2, 3. I'm getting a difference of 250, 1, 2, 3, 250,000. So it is a 500,000 minus 250,000. So let's do the same. We'll do 750, no, 500,000. 750,000 minus 500,000. I'm getting a difference of 250,000. I don't have to check, is it a constant ratio? Of course not. It's not going to be a constant ratio. Now, I'm going to stop here because I've identified the pattern. It is what? An arithmetic or a constant difference. When I subtract, I'm getting a constant value, which is 250,000. Yeah? Which is 250,000. So the answer here should be constant difference. it should be constant difference. Then 4.1.7. How much would it cost the province to employ this amount of field workers per day for a period of 30 days? All right, so you may use the formula. Okay, so it's a straightforward question. It's just plug and go. So the cost is equal to 250. It's equal to 250. Okay, 250. Oh, okay. Another thing that tells us maybe Guti, this is actually a constant difference, would be that 250 rand per day, because all the workers are earning the same amount of money, which is 250. Singayi-interpreta kanjalo in other instances. But now, as calculated, 4.1.7, so it's the number of field workers multiplied by days. How many days do we have? 30 days. Okay, it's just 250 la 250 multiplied by the number of field workers. How many field workers do we have? We are given a number, that's 7814, multiplied by the number of days. How many days do we have? 30 days. So they're gonna be working for 30 days. 250 multiplied by 7814 multiplied by 30. Wow, number ingaka ngisaba nokuyibiza. All right, so now number let me just write it down before saying it. 605,000. Okay, 58,605,000 rand. Nice. Wow, yo, that's a lot of money. Per day. Hey, per day. All right, now let's go to the second part of the question 4, which is 4.2. I'm gonna erase. Okay, now 4.2. In a specific area, there are 200 households that have to complete the Census 2022 survey. The table given below shows how the number of field workers used will impact the days it will take to complete the survey. Study the table and answer the questions that follow. Now, 4.1, we were talking about the census, right? Now the workers were employed. We were figuring out how much money are we spending to pay these workers per day, right? Now, still on the census, the number of field workers, but now we want to figure out when is the survey gonna come to an end, right? When is the survey going to come to an end? So we are relating or checking or establishing a relationship between the field workers and the number of days taken to complete the project or the survey. Now, if there's one field worker for the survey at a particular province, it's gonna take us 200 days to complete. If there's 2 field workers, there's gonna be how many? How long is the survey gonna take? 2 or 100 days. If there's 4 field workers, it's gonna take how many days? 50 days to complete. And then if we have 5 workers, I don't know. Okay, if it takes 20 days to complete, how many field workers are required? So on and so forth. Okay, then go 4.2.1. they want us to answer or calculate the values for A and B in the table. Do the calculation in the answer book. The following formula may be used. Okay, so A. To calculate A, we have 2 formulas, formula number 1 and formula number 2. The question is, which formula do we use to calculate A? Since the A represents the number of days, So we're gonna use formula number 2, the number of days formula. So it's gonna be number of days equal to 200 divided by number of field workers. Field workers is equal to, what is 200 divided by number of field workers? We are trying to calculate Bani A. We are trying to find A. Now, how many field workers do we have? 5 field workers. So we're gonna use 5 field workers to calculate the number of days it takes to complete. So it's gonna be what? 5. Then 200 divided by 5. That's a 40. So it's gonna take 40 days. This is gonna take 40 days. Now to calculate to B, this was A. To calculate B, we're gonna have to use the first formula because we want the number of field workers, and formula number 1, it gives us the value for B. We're gonna use the first formula to calculate the value for B. All right, so it's gonna be 200 divided by the number of days. So for B, we have the number of days in, like, it's 20. 0 cancels 0, so that's gonna be equal to 10. So it's gonna take how many days? 10 days. Here we go. It's gonna take 10 days. Now we have A, no B for 4.2.1. 4.2.2, use the information provided in the table to draw and label a graph on answer sheet number 1. Okay. Okay, so B, no. B, it's 10 workers, not day. All right, but I'll have to do the following. 10 and 40. Okay, that's cool. So I'm gonna come back here. Niti lana. When I A. Okay, when I A, you are 40. A, that's 40. Let me fix this slide, Sami. All right, yeah, so cool. That A u 40 la, and then u B, this is what? It's 10. Yeah, B is 10. Okay, it's 10. We need this information because you're plotting graph here, man. I prepared a graphing paper. Okay, graphing paper. So for 4.2.2, we'll have to plot the information. All right. So for the first, okay, if we have one field worker, how many days is this gonna take? Now, remember, this is what you have to keep in mind whenever you plot a graph here. Okay, number 1, you need to spot independent variable yako. Number 2, you need to also spot your dependent variable. Now on that table, how do you figure out? How do you figure out this is an independent variable, this is a dependent variable? All right, Beggar, just think about it for a moment. The number of days of completing the survey, it depends how many field workers we have for the project. Okay, the more field workers I have, the less time I take to complete the project or the survey, right? So the more I employ, the lesser or the lower, or let me just say, if value of the number of days it takes to complete the survey decrease as well. Okay, so it goes to show the number of field workers, it's gonna be our independent. We have control over the number of field workers. We get to decide how many people we get to employ. Now, the survey or the completion time for the survey, it depends as to how many people we employed. Né? So, dependent, it's going to be the number of days. It means that on the y-axis, we're going to have the number of days. days. We're gonna have the number of days, and then on the x-axis we're gonna have what? Number of field workers. Number of field workers. Number of field workers. Okay, then we'll have to plot. Number of field workers, we have one, and then for the number of days we have 2. It's this point. 2 and 100. 2, no 100, right here. 4 and 50, 4 and 50. Now 4 and 50 la. And then we have 5 and 40, 5 and 40. Sorry, now la. And then we have 10 and 20, 10 and 20 right here. And then we have 20 and 10. 20 and 10. So our graph, when connected, it's gonna look something like this. We connect it, 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 we connect it like this. All right, so this is our plot. So next time you plot or you are asked to plot plot it as points. Plot it as point. Do not plot a bar graph or a pie chart unless stated. Unless stated. But if they don't specify which type of graph to plot, when I just plot points on the graph, right, and connect them, and comment on the relationship, right, and comment on the relationship. But Lana, it was just a matter of us giving a plot. That's it. That's it. But now, Lapago 4.2.3, they are asking us about the relationship that exists or is established on the graph. Is the graph an example of a direct or indirect proportion? Give a reason for your answer. Give a reason for your answer. Looking at the graph as you draw it, so they are asking you about the graph you drew. Is this a direct or indirect? So just looking at the graph, you can see that with the eye, man. The number of days here decrease as the number of field workers increase, right? So this is inverse. So as number of days so as number of days increases, the number of field workers decrease. But of course, ungayibhala in a different way, like the way uyibona ngakhona ku graph. So ungavele uthi as the number of days it decreases, so does the as the number of field workers increase. Yeah. As the number of field workers increase, 1, 3, 4, 7, 9, so on and so forth, what happens to the number of days? The number of days yenzani decrease. Ungayibhala kanjalo as well. That's still fine. Now 4.2.4, last question. How many field workers do they need if they want to complete the survey in 5 days? Nice. We want to calculate what? The number of field workers. So we're going to use the first formula, number of field workers. Then we're going to say what again? So the number of field workers is equal to 200 divided by number of days. So we're going to say divide by what? By 5. So the answer is going to be what? 40. How many field workers do they need if they want to complete, or in 5 days? Number of field workers. How many field workers do they need? Oh yeah, 40. Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. Why am I second guessing the answer? Okay, this is question 4. Our discussion ends here, guys. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you got something out of this discussion. On a question, you have something to say. Did I mess up somewhere while I was making a discussion, or you have any questions related to this content? Let's talk in the comment section. So for now, asibonane second half. Bye bye.